Membership. What does it take? What does it take to get members in? What do you, first of all, what do you think? What's the most critical thing that you need to get members into your club?
Ask somebody.
You need interesting service projects, common goals, talk to people.
Recruitment. Somebody to get somebody to come to a meeting.
Take all of those ideas, think about it, and what does that make? You have to have a plan. If you don't have a plan, guess what? Nothing happens. So whether or not you have a club membership chair, which if membership is critical to your club, and it's critical, in my opinion, to every club that we have, you need somebody designated as membership chair, even if that means it's you. Okay? So you have to take that into consideration. You have to have a plan. A plan is the first and foremost critical thing you can do to get members. If you have no idea how to do it, it's going to stay that way all year. So as an officer, you have to have a plan. Whether that includes a membership chair, we wish it would, but if it's yourself, you have to have the plan. We have an enormous amount of resources at International. It's all accessible. If you'll notice today, I didn't bring any of it with me. I will mail you a complete set after today. I've got your contact information on my little pad. So I will send that to you. But I don't want you looking at it today. I want us to talk. Because it's the ideas that are going to be able to help you out. So you have to make a plan. One of the most critical things about getting members into a club is you have to ask. If you're not asking people to join, obviously, nobody's going to just show up at your door. So, but that's a simplistic idea, okay, to ask. All right? That doesn't tell you how you're going to get people into your club. What do you ask them? Well, the first thing you want to do is you don't invite them to a regular meeting. Because where do you guys do your arguing? Where do you have your problems? Air your dirty laundry. Yeah. Well, you want to bring them in at some point, but you target your meeting for that purpose. Yeah. That'll be a meeting for that purpose. And you don't do the rest of your business. You put you put that on the shelf and you say, we're talking to the members. You want to invite them to a social event. You want to invite them to a service project first and foremost. Why? Why do you think that is?
It's more positive. There's less conflict and you're doing something good.
You're doing something good. Why do people want to be members?
To give back.
To give back to the community. They want to serve. People say young people don't want to serve. Young people don't want to serve today. They don't want to put the time in. Do you think that's true?
No. Not at all.
I don't either. But you'll hear that excuse at every membership meeting that you go to, talking about this subject.
Actually, it's mandatory at a lot of schools and a lot of functions that they have community service.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
they're very into it.
What aren't they into?
Meetings and
Meetings. Why? Why would they not want to go to a meeting? Your meetings are great and fun and interesting, right?
on their phone.
They are here.
Technology, yeah.
This is the future generation. Guys like Don, he hates these things.
Larry's on it all the time. He's nothing but a teenager.
I'm a believer of that as a tool. It's not gonna convince people to be here. I'm going to give you a little story when the Buffalo Grove Club was starting. They were starting as a branch club of another club, which was Arlington Heights. I was going to the meeting. I was going to talk, give the good speech about lions. Why should you be a lion? I walk into the room. I sit down, the meeting starts, and they get up, all the new members are getting up, prospective members, talking about how great Lionism is. Where did they find that out?
Online.
Online. They did the research. They're young. They were everything that every excuse I ever heard that couldn't be a lion, they were sitting there. Young children, professionals. Every excuse in the book for why they couldn't become a lion or give you any sort of time whatsoever, they were there. They formed a new club. It was in an area, this is the third rendition of the Buffalo Grove Lions. Okay. So you, first and foremost, on membership, the reason I'm talking about these things is you have to rid yourself of all the excuses. There are mental excuses to stop you from asking. There are impediments. You have to get through that.
So if these people looked online to find out about Lionism, that means we have to have a very good
Presence
online,
online.
which in some clubs
Is not the
are
case.
online. So you would also suggest in there to have a better online for our club.
Definitely.
Website.
If you're looking for the future, every club has to explore this and has to do their best to get it.
Our club has to have a better, I mean, ours is
Internet
okay,
presence, yeah.
but we have to have a better website that they can find out more information.
Right.
More
And-
user-friendly.
And you need to be able to link that to the
To the
international,
international.
to the foundation, to District 1F. It needs to be linked to.
Yes.
We have a Facebook page at Mount Prospect. The problem is as membership has changed, sometimes, some years we've kept up, there's guys that have kept up on it.
It gets
There's
better.
other years where you go on there and things are so outdated, it's ridiculous. And we just renewed our website again, which is much better than our first one. But our online presence, I think, even internationally and everything else, the online presence is more important than anything today. Because from companies in town that want to donate to you, to be involved or anything else, looks at online today.
It's a tool. If we're looking for the future, you must make that effort. One of the things we're doing today is an effort with technology because we're recording the session. Now I'm going to tell you what's the most important thing about getting membership. We talked about it earlier, service, a service project. What is most critical about a service project as far as when you're looking at membership? What do you think would be the most important aspect of that service project in order to get members?
Let them get involved.
You need involvement.
Like help giving back to the community, their own community where they live.
Well, community is part of it. Let me give you a little story. My international president was Billy Ross, and big tall Texan with a white hat, you know. He told a story on membership of a club in his area, and he went into the town and they were talking about closing the club. So what can you do? Okay, he's there for one day and he talks to him. He says, well, what kind of projects do you have? And they really didn't have much of anything. He says, okay, it's a small town, your main street, there's a lot of trash. Why don't we put our vests on and we'll walk down the street, clean the street. That's our first project. What about that project is critical? The critical part, you put the vest on, people identified you as a lion, and they see you doing service. So it is a project that then resulted in people wanting to join that club. It's a small town, and they're helping the town. But it's not just the project. The project, what you do is not all that important. It could be any need
So
in...
get out and be seen.
Be out, it's got to be visible. And it's tougher to do that today. That's where the website comes in. That's where the Facebook comes in. You need to record that, get it out on Facebook, get it out on Twitter. You know, you get on there, you take a picture of somebody, you tweet the picture out. We're out here today, come and join us. Okay? You have to have a plan that goes back to the beginning. You have to have a plan. So we're going to do a project, we're going to record the project, we're going to put it out on Facebook, we're going to put it out on our website. We're going to call the school and ask for volunteers to help us with our project. Candy Day. You can always use another 15 or 20 students helping you on Candy Day. What doesn't mean you're going to throw them out in the middle of the street, but they can certainly help you with the project. Running candy to different locations.
Support staff.
Support. But you get them in, and then they see that what you're doing. Also call them out for service projects. So if you're going to do baskets at Thanksgiving or Christmas, have them help so they see exactly what you're doing. Okay? This is the kind, you need the community involvement, you need a plan, you need to be visible. And it can be as simple as walking down the street. If you're a small enough town, that works. It's not going to work so much if you're in a big area like we are.
As long as you know your Lions Club.
but
That's for the best for some type of.
you guys are totally involved. Now, what's the strategy that's going to help you as a club? Now, your two clubs are totally involved in your community. You get participation from the park boards and the village board, and you get the mayors involved. That is the strategy for a small town like ours that is part of a big metropolitan area. Because you're not going to get the support of the community without the people that are involved. They're on that board. They're on the village board. They're on the park board. They're on the library board. They're on all those boards, and you want to get them involved in your community organization because two things. It's a two-way street. You're going to get ideas from them what the community needs because they're in touch with the community. And the biggest thing that you have to do when you're trying to figure out why you're not visible is finding out what the needs of that community are. So you go to those boards and say, look, you want community clubs supporting your community. For us to do that, we need your input in our club. So we need people from the village board to join us. Okay? It can't just be that they say, thank you, we love you. We want them to join the club and be part of the club. That is critical in this area. Okay? You have service projects, and you make the service projects part of your membership plan, and that's going to get people to join. I have literature explains how to do all of this, and I will mail that to you. You have to go out and start asking, okay? So attend the village board. Attend the meetings. Ask to talk to them. Get up and stand and say, hey, we're having a recruitment drive. We notice that we don't have a lot of you as members of our organization, and we'd love to have you as part of that organization. That's part of making that plan. So you make the effort, the president, secretary, a couple of people to represent the club at one of those board meetings. They're going to like it. Now, here's another thought. There's a number of programs that you can involve to help you recruit. There is a Lions Alert program. It's a program it's designed to enable you to respond to an emergency in your town. God forbid that it happens, a flood, a fire, whatever it happens to be. You reach out to the community, you find out who is on the emergency response committee. The task that you have is to determine what kind of response does our club want to do in those instances? That whole interaction is where you generate membership, because you're reaching out beyond what your comfort zone is. Your club has a comfort zone, whether you believe it or not. Okay, if you're a small club, your major issue is getting members, okay, because you need more people to help out with the projects that you're going to do. If you're a large club and you've lost members, one of the things you might want to do is take advantage of a program that evaluates how you function. So involvement, focus on meetings, club dynamics. You have retention. Are you losing people for a particular reason? Here's the things that these programs do for you. You take a critical look at your club. Okay, you want to look at retention. Why have we lost the 25 people? Did anybody talk to them as they were leaving? When you're losing that many in one particular year, it could be as simple as nobody bothered to put the paperwork through in the last 3 years, okay? Or, you know, it could be something that they don't like this person or that person, and there's a personality conflict. Is it a major problem? All of that stuff. But see, when you go through those processes, it helps you identify if that's really a critical problem. Because if you let it fester too long, then it's going to continue to be a problem. If you can address it and somehow deal with it, and what we say is you praise in public and you criticize in private. So it takes the leadership, pull somebody aside and say, you know, we've talked, we've lost several people, we think they were valuable people to have in our club, and the reason they're telling us that they're leaving is because of X, Y, Z. We've talked about the fundraising projects, and we've talked about service projects, okay? And you talked about getting kids in from the community. You can get volunteers in from the community as well. You might want to start a logbook. It's a simple way of saying recording all those people's names and contact information, because if they're willing to come out for a service project, if they're willing to help you on a fundraising project, they might be willing to become members. And after having come to a number of those, you will now have a record of that information, and then make a concrete plan to assign somebody to recruit those people. Maybe there's a friend of theirs in the club, and but you see, if you assume the friend's going to ask them, the friend might be uncomfortable asking them to join. So as a club, you have to have that plan. How are we going to accomplish that? Somebody has to say, hey, your friend helped out on this service project, they were at the fundraiser, you think they might want to join? Okay? The other part of that is when you have all these people there, have a thank you gathering. I say that because that could be a dinner at a restaurant, it could be a picnic. Okay? Some clubs have had them and they sort of fall off. They don't do them anymore. And that's important. Yeah, it's important. Because why? They feel that you value their time. And even the membership, okay? The social part is important. So you want to have not so much a formal dinner.
We used to do like a barbecue after Alpine for the
Yeah,
volunteers.
yeah.
And we used to have to serve the volunteers that weren't members.
Exactly.
I don't know what happened then.
That
Mount
would
Prospect
be
still
nice,
does that.
fun.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
still do a barbecue in the park.
Okay?
I've ran it for many years.
So see, There's ideas that are out there that we've used that have been good. We forget about them. We don't do them because, oh, maybe whoever used to organize it doesn't want to do the organizing of it anymore. And nobody took it up. Okay? How are you going to figure these things out unless you have that membership plan? There you are. That's what's, without an active, thought-out plan for the year, membership becomes sporadic. Somebody happens to come to your meeting, they invite somebody to the meeting, and they join. And then nobody pays attention to them, and they drop off. It's the worst thing you can do. Get them in and involve them in service projects.
Right.
More than the fundraising. You want them on your fundraisers, but get them involved in the service. That's where they get hooked. There is going to be something new being introduced at International, at this International Convention. At the plenary session, they're going to introduce a thing called My Lions app. It's going to tie our whole district together. Every member is going to be able to have My Lions app on their phone. I assume most of us today have a smartphone, because you need one. And it's going to have service projects. Do you have a service project that you want involvement?
That's cool.
The club can control it. Okay, your chairman can control it for your club. You can reach out. The public's going to be able to download this. It's a free app. They can interact on the My Lions app to see what we're doing and maybe make a suggestion for a service project. The club still has to act to make it theirs. So not anyone can say this is a Lions project. It's got to be authorized by an officer of a club and made part of their program, okay? So there's controls, there's privacy controls. If you're a Lion, you're going to be identified as a Lion and verified by International that you are a Lion. If you're an officer, that's verified as well. If you're just a community member, there's that designation on there. And it is good because it's communication. It's good because you're talking about cooperation between clubs. Clubs have the hardest time, even though it's in our newsletter, even though it's on our websites. Many of our members, we won't identify those people that won't even go online to find this stuff out. And trust, today, people aren't reading newspapers. It's harder to communicate, and these apps are going to be the future, and it's going to really help us. But as membership, the service project, bring the people to social events, have a social event to thank them. All of these things do different things. One is it makes them feel valuable and wanted and needed, okay? When you thank them at these events, you give a certificate for participation. It doesn't have to cost a lot of money, but when you know somebody does something exceptional, you want to recognize that. Something from the president, a president's appreciation certificate.
I want to say that I am a member because of the Mount Prospect Lions. I grew up in Mount Prospect, and they were just constantly involved in everything in the community.
Exactly.
And growing up, constantly seeing them.
The presents.
Not that I knew what you did, but you
But
gave
you
me
saw the
candy,
logo.
gave me candy on Candy Day, and you were there all the time through my whole childhood. So as an adult, I'm like, hey, I remember that. And
You know, you said something that is universal. They see the emblem. They recognize this emblem. There are companies that have spent enormous amounts of money trying to get visibility and identification. We have it. People know that emblem. They have a positive image of that emblem. That visibility, that identification impacts what you do. we had an opportunity from the foundation. There was a Burger King franchise. They had 200 franchises in the state of Illinois, and they wanted to have a fundraiser for us. And so we did this. I worked with the Hoffman Estates Burger King, the place. I worked with the woman, and they were doing different things on different days, and so I would talk to her and visit with her. And she, at one of these meetings, she says, you know, we're getting some money raised. She said, but could we get a couple of vests to wear while we're doing this? I said, sure. So I didn't even have a vest at that time, because I was one of these that thought, oh, the yellow vest. How old and arcane is that, really? Come on. So bought 2 vests, gave them to her, said, hey, here you go. She was done. She says, you would not believe the difference.
Once you had the vest on?
Once you had the vest on, the people just gave you the money. That's the difference. That's the importance of that arcane looking vest. That lion's emblem is invaluable. The vest is too. Put the coat on, and at the end, put the vest on. Yeah. You get the oversized vest so you can get your arms through it. Why? Because people know what that is. They know what it means. And they, right.